But very good morning to all of you. In this class, we'll be discussing about structures. Before we go for the structures, so let us see the normal data types. So in case of if we define a normal data type like int a or float x and character b. So these are some three independent data types. Integer stores an integer A stores an integer type of data, X stores an floating point type of data, and B stores character type of data. Now, another data type could be int capital A of 10, right? So these are fundamental data types, and this is what is a derived data type. So these are all fundamental data types, and this is what is a derived data type. We know that derived data type are created by using the fundamental data types. So A is an integer variable and A of 10 is an array variable. This is an array which can hold 10 different integers, which can hold 10 different integers. In other words, array is a user defined data type, derived data type, which can hold elements of same type, which can hold elements of same type. That means by using same one name, we can store the elements of same type or similar data type. Now, if the situation arises such a way that with the same name we want to store, with the same name we may want to store elements of different type. So it is possible that we may have some situations in which we want to store the elements of different type. That means all these data types together into a single entity, together into a single unit. There may be possibilities. In such scenarios, we go for structures. So structures are used to group together data of different types inside a single unit. We use structures to store the data of different types. So this is an integer type, this is floating point type, this is character type. All these together, we are storing it into a single entity. We are representing it into a single entity. In such cases, we go for using structures. So it basically, it will remove the barrier or limitation. What is that? Limitation of the array. What is the limitation of the array? Limitation of the array is it can only store elements of single data type. If it is an integer array, it can only store integer type of data. If it is a floating point type of array, it can only store floating point type of data. If it is a character array, it can only store character type of data. So to overcome this disadvantage, we can go for making use of structures. So we can usually use the structures in situation where data elements with distinct data types are required. So where there are data elements, we want to process them under a single name. So this is what is the different type of data elements, int, x and float. So in such scenario, we go for structures. And structures, say for example, the very best example for structures is a student record. So every student will be having some set of elements like name, roll number, university seat number, marks, etc., address of the students, mobile number of the students. So all these data of a student are containing different type of data of different data types. So different data is there which are having different data types. If you want to combine them all into a single entity, then the best thing is to use the structures. The best thing is to use the structures. So structures basically are used to store the elements of different data types into a single entity. Different data types into a single entity. Right? The general syntax for structures is structure definition. The structure declaration will always start with the struct keyword and whatever name you want to give for the structure. It will start with the struct keyword and whatever name you want to give to the structure. So I think I should zoom this somewhat so that you can see properly. Okay. Now this font size will be appropriate for all of you, what I feel, right? Whatever structure name you want to give, that is any identifier for the structure. This is one identifier. This is one identifier for the structure. Right, and the structure declaration will be always between this opening bracket and the closing bracket. And within the structure declaration, we have different types of data. That is, what is the data type of the data and what is the member. Second member and its data type. Nth member and its data type. So this is what is structure. Just now I had drawn an example here: int a, float x. Another one was character a, character b or something. So all those you can combine them into a single identifier called as a structure. And after closing bracket, this is what is structure declaration, variable declaration of the structure. So there are two ways of declaring variables. Immediately after the closing bracket of the structure, immediately after the end of the structure definition, you can write the variable and then write the semicolon. That is one way. That means var1, this is what is structure variable. This is what is structure variable. Another way of declaring structure variable, use struct keyword and name of the structure. In this case, whatever identifier you have given, use that name followed by variable 2. And here var2, that is variable 2, it is also a structure variable. Two ways of creating structure variable. One way is either you can write the structure variable immediately after the closing bracket, then write the semicolon. Then second way is you can write the structure keyword, name of the structure followed by the variable 2. Now this is one example structure declaration. Now the struct keyword is being used and name of the structure is book. We have given name of the structure as book. The structure declaration is between this opening bracket and this closing bracket. How many members are there in the structure? 1, 2, 3, 4 members we have declared within the structure. There are 4 members. That means 4 different types of data we can process by using single name. 4 different types of data we can process by using single name. Right, the first type of data is character array. That is, title is a character array which can hold 20 characters. Second type of data is author, because book details we are storing. Author is a character array which can store 15 characters. Third data element is pages is an integer variable which can hold integer type of data. Price of the book is a floating point type of data. So all these are members of the structure. Members of the structure are different types of data elements which are present within the structure. So what are the different types of data elements? Two, we have character data, character arrays or strings. One is integer type of data, another one is floating point type of data. So these 4 types of data elements we have within the structure. Data elements we have within the structure. Now, after these details, this is where we have declared a structure variable. Book 1 is a structure variable. So with these statements, what happens here is book 1 structure variable will get created, which has the memory reserved for the members, for all the members of the structures. What are the members here? Title is a member. Then another one is author is a member. Next member is pages is a member, which is of type integer. Next one is price. That means independent one structure variable will get created. And if you want to speak more specifically in detail, the title is a character array which can hold 20 different characters. That means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 20 different characters. Similarly, author can hold 15 different characters. So that is how the internal structure details will be, right? Now this is what is happening when structure variable gets created whenever you write this statement. So another type of structure variable declaration is this one. Write the struct keyword, use name of the structure. What is the name of the structure? Book is the name of the structure. That means we are declaring variable of this type. What is the variable of this type? Struct book is the data type and book2 is the name of the variable. This you can compare like this for understanding purpose. What we can do here is this whole thing you can assume it as int book2, int book2. So this what it indicates, book2 is an integer type of variable. What it tells here in this line, book2 is a structure variable. Book2 is a structure variable of type book. Here book2 is a integer variable. So that's it. That means we are creating one new data type or new variable of this particular type. New variable of this particular type. Right? So this line, what it creates an impact here is one more structure variable will get created. Book2 is a structure variable which has independent memory reserved for all the members of the structure. So what are the members? Title, author, pages, and then price. Right? This is how we declare the structure and create the structure variable. And later we access the individual members by using dot operator. That we'll see it now. Structure variable can be initialized or instantiated either by appending the variable names at the end of the structure definition. That means this one, first technique. Or by writing a separate declaration statement. That is this one. So two ways. Structure variables can be created either by using this approach or by using this approach. Now let us see on sample example. How do we initialize the structure? Because once we declare a structure, you should give initial values for the members. How do you give initial values for the members? Name of the structure variable, dot operator, following by which member you want to initialize, and at the RHS, which value you want to assign to the member. At the RHS, which value you want to assign to the member. So that is how we initialize the structure variables or members of the structure. Similarly, second structure variable, second member, and the value which you want to assign. So for example, for the book dot title, what it indicates, for the book variable, the title member will get the value called data structures. So here is a, for example, if this is the book member, what is the title? Title, that is how do you access? This is the member access. That means for the book variable, we are accessing title member. That is, title member of book will get a value of data structures. Pages member of book will get a value of 450. So this is dot. Dot operator is used for accessing members of the structure. So for example, book dot title, if you write data structures, this is the string. This will be assigned to title member of the book variable. If you assume this as the book variable instead of book one, if you assume this as a book variable, what this title will get? Title will get like data structures. Title will get data structures. What is the next initialization? The pages member of book will get 450. That means there are 450 pages in the textbook. So what is the pages member of the book? Pages member of the book will get 450. 450. So this is how we initialize members of the structure. Now let us see one sample example. Program that uses simple structure to store details of the students. So this with these fundamentals, now we can create structure variables to store the details of the students. Required header files are included. Number and I are local variables. This is what is the structure declaration. What structure? How we are declaring? Student is name of the structure, which is having three data members, three types of data: character data, integer data and integer data. Yes, any problem? So there are three different data members within the structure. Okay, this is what is a structure declaration, and we are creating variables in the next statement. So remember, it is array of structure variables. It is array of structure variables. That means 10 different. What type of array we are creating? We are creating an array of type struct student. For better understanding of this, if you write something like this, int std of 10. So what it indicates here is std is an array of type integer. Std is an array of type integer. Now what this statement is, struct student, then std of 10. So what it indicates, in this first line, std is an array of type integer. Here std is also an array of type struct student. Here in this case, the std can hold 10 different types of integers. Here in this case, std can hold 10 different types of structure variables or details of 10 students. It can hold details of 10 students, where every student has this information: name of that student, roll number of that student, and marks of that student. Right? Now, I'll take the memory diagram for better understanding of this, because without the diagrams, imagination will be very difficult. What I'll do, right? What this statement causes is std of 0, then std of 1, so on up to std of 9. 10 different structures variables will get created. And what are the members of every structure? Every structure has 3 members. What are those? Name, then we have roll number, there is no underscore else, right? Name, roll number is the second member, then total marks of the student, T underscore marks. These are the 3 members. Similarly, the second structure variable, this is array of structure variables. This is array of structure variables. Second structure variable with 3 members, so on up to last structure variable. This is what is impact of this line. I am explaining you impact of this line. That means array of 10 different structure variables will get created. Array of 10 different structure variables will get created. This is one independent structure variable. This is one independent structure variable whose members are name, roll number, total marks. This is one independent structure variable whose members are name, roll number, and total marks. Right? So now let us ask. We have capacity to store and process details of 10 students. So enter the number of students. Let us say you are giving 2 as the value. That means number will have 2. Number is equal to 2. That means we want to store details of 2 students. For explanation purpose, I will take details of 2 students. That means this data will be read for the value of I, which will range from 0 to 1. I will be initialized to 0. I will be initialized to 0. I less than num. Yes, it is true because number is 2. We want to store the details of 2 students. So number is 2. So next, enter into the for loop. Enter the details for student I plus 1. That means first student. It will display like this. Then we will ask user to enter the name and where that name will be stored? Name, see the string type, name will be stored at std of I dot name. That means name member of, what is the value of I here? Value of I is 0. So how this statement will become? std of 0 dot name. Whatever you enter, that will be stored in this location. In which location? std of 0 dot name. What is std of 0? Here. That means here we'll get the value xyz will get stored. If you have entered xyz will be stored. Next, ask user to enter the roll number, and where you have to store that? At the address of stdi of I dot roll number. That means std of 0, because I is 0, 0 dot roll number will get that value. So if you have given 10 as the roll number, then this member, the roll number will get a value of 10. Then next we are asking, enter the total marks. Enter the total marks. Say if you have given marks as 100, where that will be stored? At the address of std of I. What is I? I is 0. That means std of 0 dot total marks will get a value of 100. So here we are going to store a value of 100. That means we have read the details of one student and stored it in a structure variable. We have read the details of one student and stored it in a structure variable. So after all this, what happens? We have stored it in a structure variable. I'll just erase this. Right. So this is where the for loop ends. Now we have to execute the incrementation part or modifier part. It will increment the value of I by 1. The value of I becomes 1. Now again check this condition. 1 is less than 2. Yes, it is true. Enter into the for loop and again read the details of second student. Now what we do? We read the details of second student. Read the details of second students, and that will be stored in the next structure variable. Say ABC 20 and 200. Right. Similarly, up to maximum you can store details of 10 students. If you want to store details of 100 students, then make this index as 100, subscript as 100. Means array of 100 different structure variables will get created. Right. And ultimately, after reading, we are simply printing the value of whatever we have read. We are just printing them using the for loop. That means student 1. What is the name of the student? Percentage S. What is the roll number of the student? Percentage D. What is the total marks? Percentage D. That means I plus 1 will take the value this one. std of name. That means 0th student name will be displayed in this location. Then roll number will be displayed in this location. Then total marks will be displayed here in this location. So they are just the format specifiers, and that is how we display the results onto the screen. Whatever the members we have saved now, the same values we are trying to display. That means this I plus 1 will become 1, and that will be placed in the place of percentage D, that is student 1. What is the name? Name is percentage S. What is the corresponding argument for that? std of I dot name. I is 0. What is the name value? What is the name value present in 0th structure variable? Name value present in 0th structure variable is xyz. So xyz will be displayed. Next, roll number is percentage D. The corresponding argument is std of I dot roll number. So what is the roll number stored in 0th member of std? What is the roll number stored in 0th member of std? Because I started with 0. What is the roll number stored in 0th member of std? If you see, roll number is 10. So this will have a value of 10. That means that value 10 will be stored here. So what it will display here? Student 1, name is xyz, and roll number is 10. And what are the total marks? std of 0 dot total marks. What is the total marks present in 0th student array? total marks is 100. So what we will get here, it will get a value of 100 will be displayed. Similarly, the for loop will be incremented and the details of second student will be displayed. This is how it works. This is how the structures are going to work. So one more example is there for demonstration of structure that you can study it on your own. Same similar example is there. So now let us take, I'll go for demonstration of this. Just now whatever we have created, the same program only I'm trying to demonstrate. Right? So array is being created. I hope you can see these fonts. Is it visible to you? Can someone respond this text? Do we have synchronization between audio and video? Is there any disturbance in the explanation part? Can someone respond? Are you following whatever I am explaining? Can someone respond?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So enter the number of students and that will be stored in a variable called number for every iteration of the for loop. And usual practice is, I'll tell you anyhow, we have time now. Whenever you are typing the program, follow the indentation like this. Right? It is a better way to write the program. It will be easy to understand the flow of program and remove the errors. Now the content of for loop you have to take a little bit inside. Follow this indentation whenever you practice programming. Right? Enter the details for student I plus 1. That means for the first student you enter the details. And which detail we are asking specifically? We are asking the detail called name, and that is being stored in a variable std array. That means ith member, that name will be stored. Next, roll number. We are asking user to enter the roll number, that will be stored in the roll number member of the first structure variable. Next, we are asking total marks, that will be stored in the total marks member of the first structure variable. And now we are displaying the student details, whatever details we have received from the user or from the programmer, the same details we are trying to display. It will receive one character, right? And then right, this is the same program whatever I have explained just now. So let me run this. I enter the number of students. I hope all of you can see this. Enter the number of students. So how many students we have? Took the example here. I'll give the same input. 2 students. We are giving the details of 2 students. Yes. Now enter the details for first student. What is the name of that student? You have to provide name. What is the name that we have given here? Let us take it as XYZ. So XYZ is the name. Next, what is the roll number? Roll number is 10. What is the total marks? Total marks is here. What you can see, total marks is 100. Right? Now enter the details for second student. So what is the name of the second student? Name of the second student is ABC. Name of the second student is ABC. What is the roll number of the second student? roll number of the second student is 20. So give 20 as the input. What is total marks of the second student? Total marks is here 200. So I'll give 200. This is how it is. Press any key to display the details of students. So I'll press enter. And this is how the student details are getting displayed. What are the details? Student one details are name is XYZ, roll number is 10, total marks are 100. Student 2 details are name is ABC, roll number is 20 and total marks are 200. So if you press any key, we will come out of the execution. This is how the structures are going to be used in C++. Not C++, in C. Structures will be used in C. Now let us see the unions, the concept of unions. So structures are very similar to the unions are very similar to structures. They are also used to group together the elements of different types. They are also used to group together the elements of different types into a single entity. But the significant difference between structure and union is that the implementation is different. The size of the structure is equal to sum of sizes of all its members. The sum of the structure size will be sum of all the members, whereas the union size is the size of the largest member. The size of the union is given by the size of the largest member. The reason here is the unions are going to allow only one member to be utilized. They will allow only one member to be active at any given point of time. They will allow only one member to be active at any given point of time. They will allow only one member to be active. That's why the union members are going to share the same memory location. The members of the union will share the memory location. They will share the memory location. Whereas in structure, union will share the memory location. Structure, they will have independent memory location. Structure, they will have independent memory. They will have independent memory, right? So that is the key difference. In structure, you can access all the members at any given point of time, whereas in union, we can access only one member at a time. So union keyword we use for declaring union, and name of the union, different elements, different members with different data types. And for example, here result is a union which is having 3 members. What are the 3 members? Marks, grade and percentage. So where we use the union? We will use the union in situations where we need not require all the members to be active. We want details of only one member at any given point of time. Because instead of when you want to store only marks of the students, and there is a situation where you want to process only marks of the students and you don't want to process and store grade and percent, then we go for union. And later you feel that instead of marks, I want to process only grade, I don't want marks and percent. Then what you can do here is you can enable the grade member and disable marks and percent. That means only one member will be active. See, I will just show you the difference between structure and union. I'll just show you the difference with diagram so that the things will be clear. Only one member will be active in case of union. If this is union, what happens? This is what is the memory. Memory reserved for the members of the union. Let us assume float is the largest data type. Let us assume that float will take 4 bytes. Float will take 8 bytes. Integer will take 4 bytes. And character will take 1 byte. So 4 bytes, 8 bytes, and then let us say that character. What is the character member here? This is the grade member which will take only 1 byte. Next, from this is one typical thing, so you need to Concentrate for understanding. What is the size of this character member? This is 1 byte character member. Next we have integer member will take how many locations? Integer member will take 4 bytes. Int will take 4 bytes, character will take 1 byte, float will take 8 byte. So character will take only 1 byte. This much memory is sufficient for this character. Whereas if it is an integer, you may have to take 4 bytes. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 locations are for what? Are for integer. And this whole 8 bytes are for what? This all 8 bytes are for floating point. And this is what is character. Right? So this is how, this is the common memory for all the members. In case of union, this is the common memory for all the members of a union. This is common memory for all the members of a union, which will be shared, because the same memory location, the beginning address for all the members is same. If it is 100, the beginning address for all the members is same. If you want, you can store only character, or you can store only integer, or you can store only float. This is how is the case in case of union. Now, assume if this is a structure, the same in case of structure, what happens here is every member will get independent memory location. That is how we have seen just now. Every member will get independent memory location. This how many members are there? 3 members are there. Right? If it is a structure variable, what happens? The marks member will get its own independent memory location. The grade member will get independent memory location. Then percent member will get independent memory location. Now, what is marks here? The size of marks is integer type of data. So how much bytes it will? How many bytes it will take? 4 bytes. Grade is character. It will take 1 byte. Percentage is float. It will take 8 bytes. So in case of structure, the size of the structure is equal to sum of sizes of all the members of the structure. What is the size of this marks? 4 bytes. Size of grade is 1 byte. Size of percentage 8 bytes. 8 plus 4 plus 1 is how much? 13 bytes is the total size of the structure. If it is a union, the size of the union will be largest among the sizes of the individual members. So what is the size of the largest? Largest member is float. That means only 8 bytes will be reserved. Here 13 bytes will be reserved for the structure. Here 8 bytes will be reserved. And only that 8 byte will be shared by all the members. Only that 8 byte will be shared by all. I hope these key differences you can understand between structure and union. So this is a structure in which every member has independent memory location. Whereas union, every member will share the common memory location. And here all the members are active. Marks, grade and percent all are active at any given point of time. Why? Because there is an independent memory. Whereas here only one member will be active because the memory is being shared by all the members. That is a typical difference between structure and union. So you can see this example here. Union is being declared. ST1 and ST2 are the two members. ST1 and ST2 are the two variables of type union. Two variables of type union. What I should do here is, instead of that, I should show like this. Right? These are the right, ST1 and ST2. ST1 and ST2 are the two union variables. Right? Now, when this has union, every union has two members, roll number and result. Roll number and result. So it can either have a roll number or it can either store result. Similarly, it can either have a roll number or it can have result. One of the two possibilities. Now we are trying to initialize here. Roll number member of ST1, that means first union variable is getting a value of 20. That means roll number is active. this result will not be active, because we know that only one member will be active within the union, that is ST1. For the ST1 member, roll number is getting 20. That means roll number becomes active now, and this will become inactive. This is active, roll number is active, and this is inactive. That means you cannot access the result member. Similarly, the result member of ST2 is getting a value of P. That means pass. So here result is being made active and roll number is being made inactive. That means ultimately I will erase this. The result you cannot access here and roll number you cannot access here, because we have activated, or we are using only roll number in the ST1. We are using only result in ST2. These two, even though they can store the other member, in union only one member can be active. And what we are trying to do here is, in this next line, accessing and printing the values correctly. That means this is correct way of accessing. What I am doing, just we are printing what the roll number member from ST1 we are taking and printing it. That is correct, because the roll number member, I just try to minimize and show it. Right here, this statement what it causes, it is trying to access this member. It is trying to access this member, which is correct. See, a roll number member of ST1 is being accessed, that is correct, no error. Similarly, result member of ST2 is being accessed. Result member of ST2, that is active. So this is also correct, no issue in that one. Now, there are some incorrect accesses what we are doing. What is that? We are trying to access in this print roll number member of ST2. What we are trying to do, we are trying to access roll number member of ST2. With this line, what we are trying to do, we are accessing the roll number member of ST2. That means for ST2 you are trying to access roll number. Is it active here? No. That means it is incorrect access. That is incorrect access. Similarly, in this one, what you are doing, we are trying to access the result member of ST1. Is it correct? That means the red, what it indicates, the result member of ST1, the result member of ST1 is not active. So this is incorrect. This is incorrect. So the basic thing what you have to know about the unions is, only one member is active at any given point of time. And all these are differences between structures and unions, whatever I told. So what I'll do, I'll try to demonstrate. How much time do we have? Can someone tell? What is the time? Yes, I think time is over. I'll just
10:36.
Okay. I'll just demonstrate this 2.17 program for showing the demonstration of unions. Then we'll ask user to enter the roll number. We are just printing. We are just trying to access the members of the union, because in union we know that only one member will be active. Just trying to demonstrate whatever I explained just now. Right, so these first two are correct and second are wrong. That means here we'll get wrong results or garbage values. Here we must get garbage values. As you can see here, the first union member, the first type of access is correct. Roll number is 20 and result is pass or P. Whereas in second access we are getting garbage values. Why? Because of this reason, whatever I explained here. Whichever member is active, that we can access. Whichever member is not active, that we cannot access. So that is the fundamental difference between structures and unions. That is the fundamental difference between structure and union. So remaining all functionalities are same. So some of the key differences are, here we use struct keyword and here we use union keyword. All members are utilized, can be utilized simultaneously. All the members are active. Here only one member is active. Here size is equal to sum of sizes of all the members, as I said. Here size is equal to the size of the largest member. So every structure member will get independent memory location, and all the union members are going to share the common memory space. So structures are memory efficient comparison to they are not memory efficient because memory will be consumed by all the independent members even though they are not being used. Here memory will be shared by all the members. So this was the concept about structures and unions.